Welcome to another episode of NEC Suites, where we interview community leaders to glean insights for our small business community. Today I have the good fortune of interviewing Mr. Cliff Long, who is the CEO of the Orlando Regional REALTOR Association.
Yes.
I did that right?
You said it perfectly.
Thank you. I know that it's sometimes you just want to call it realtors, but it's not. It's REALTOR Association.
Realtor. Yes, and there's no such thing as a realtor either.
Very true. Very true. When we do these podcasts this year, oftentimes doing the hobby or activity that the guest likes to do, and in your case, you like to ride motorcycles.
Yes.
Tell me what got you into riding motorcycles first.
So, riding a motorcycle is something that I've always wanted to do. However, I never got a chance to do it as a young man because my mother was always afraid of motorcycles. As I grew older and I got married, I told my wife that I wanted to learn how to ride a motorcycle. But we had kids. Oh. And eventually, we had 5 kids, and so my wife made a promise that I don't think she thought I was going to make good on. But she said that when the kids grow up, then you can ride or get a motorcycle. So I laid quietly in wait. And so the first kid grew up and moved out, and the second kid grew up and moved out, and then the third and the fourth. And when my youngest daughter turned 19 and graduated from high school, it was like the Lord shined his light on me. So here's what happened. I said nothing. One of my employees gave me a Christmas present in an envelope. And when I opened up the envelope, I had said nothing about my secret desire to anyone. I opened up the envelope, and inside was a gift certificate to pay for the rider's class at Harley Davidson.
Oh, wow. That's a
I
nice
looked
gift.
at it. I took it as
a sign.
Oh. And so the first thing I did was I took it down to Harley. I'd never even been in the dealership. You have to understand that I had never ridden a motorcycle. Yeah. I took it down there. I signed up for the next class, and I was off. And so, it's freezing cold, it's raining, and it's February. Remember, I got it for Christmas. It's freezing cold, it's raining, and it's February, and I am out trying to learn how to ride a motorcycle. Big shout out to Harley Davidson, because after taking that class for 3 days, at the last day, and it was time for us all to get our certificates, I failed.
Oh.
I failed the class. The coach came up to me and she said, "Listen, honey," her name was Donna. She said, "We can't put you out there.
You don't need to be killing yourself."
She said, "You don't need to be on the street." She said, "Not just for the other people, but we don't want you to hurt yourself." Yeah. She said, "You need a little more training, a little more time, and so we can't pass you." Now, if type A personalities like myself, you telling me that I can't do something,
I'm going to prove you wrong.
I'm going to prove you wrong. I signed up for the very next class. And in between those weeks, I was on YouTube, I was reading, I learned everything there was to know about a motorcycle. From cruisers to sport bikes to baggers to touring. I read it, I ingested it all. And by the time we got to the next class, I was ready. I went there. Now, it's ironic because I'm great at academia. I was always good at the administrative side. So when it came to the actual written state exam portion, I only missed one question. I knew
Flying
that.
Colors,
aced it. But the physical part. So I went back out there, I took the course, and this next time around we passed. As soon as I walked out the classroom, I walked over and I saw this beautiful Harley Davidson motorcycle. I bought it.
Yours.
It
Love
was
at
mine.
First sight.
Never turned back. And the passion was there. And not only that, but within 6 months, I purchased another one.
Oh, wow.
And then I had a coworker of mine who had one sitting in the garage. I bought that from her. So I would say in the course of a year, I might have owned 6 or 7.
Oh, wow.
Different motorcycles. I've ridden everywhere. Everywhere they will let me ride, I ride. I've learned how to work on them now. Because of the OCD, when you're driven to be successful, you're kind of wired a certain way. And so in my garage, I have a lift. I go in, I take parts off, I put parts on. Now, it's important that you understand that prior to this, I was a car guy. So motorcycles and combustion engines, this is something I've known. I always had hot
So
rods.
you had some idea of how the concept of transmissions work, some of the fundamentals of moving wheels.
Do my own brakes, do my own oil. I was that guy to begin with. Now I just went from 4 wheels to 2 wheels, and I am so in love. In my study of the game, I learned the game. And in my study of the game, I went, and this is where the entrepreneurial side on me. When you're wired like me, you can't help but see things through a certain lens. And so I began to see things through the business lens. And so I'm in my garage, I'm watching these guys on YouTube, and I'm looking at how many views, how many clicks, how many likes, who's subscribing. And then I start reading and researching monetization and how you monetize the channel. And I was just thinking, these guys are getting paid for this.
I can do this.
I can do this. And so I started to learn, how are you doing that? What are you doing? What kind of camera? I started researching. I went from motorcycles to cameras. I learned everything about the GoPro that I could learn. I learned everything about DJI that I could learn. I learned everything about Insta360 that I could learn. Where'd that angle? How'd you shoot that? What did you do? I started to study the content creators who have the most views. Why do people go there? And so eventually I said, it's time for me to start my own channel. And I have had some wonderful adventures, even to the point where I won't say which, but some local dealerships are saying, hey, let's collaborate. Because I've told them, I got 20,000 members.
Nice, yeah.
I got 20,000 members, and they're all 1099 individual small business owners. And so I don't just have 20,000 members, I have 20,000 small business owners. And so I would love to expose them to the wonderful world of motorcycling and motovlogging. And that's just how my journey has been.
Well, it's a fun hobby for sure, and it seems like you're the type of individual that constantly likes to learn. What was your professional trajectory to get, how did you start and to get to be a CEO? It's the country's largest membership realtor.
We're in the top 10 largest realtor associations in America.
Wow.
Out of maybe 1,500 and 1.5 million realtors.
Wow.
So I'm very pleased to have a top 10 local board, and we are very successful. Our members, the Orlando people, are crazy successful. I love all of our members, our realtors. We're growing so fast. Downstairs right now I have 70 new members. We're going through orientation. As we speak, there's 70 new realtors, and we're averaging somewhere between 50 to 150 new member applications per week. We're still growing. Real estate is still hot because Central Florida is hot. The start for my trajectory to become a CEO actually began in my first stint. I was a business manager for AT&T. I lived in Montgomery, Alabama. I was very happy. I modeled myself as a little country boy. From the real South. This is Orlando's the South, but I'm from the real South. We have a saying here: you go north to go south.
Correct.
And so
the more north you go in Florida, the more southern you get.
Yes. And so I was from Alabama, and AT&T promoted me, and they sent me down here, and that was just before 9/11. And I was a corporate guy. I knew then that I was going to be one of the next CEOs of Bell Operating Companies and Ma Bell. I had been identified for leadership. They had their hands on me, and they promoted me and put me in charge of mid-market business. So I had everything from Escambia County all the way to Duval.
Oh, wow.
I was that man for Bell South. When the trucks rolled, I was the guy that made them roll. I was really loving my life, loving my family. I had just gotten married, and then shortly after that, 9/11 happened. When 9/11 happened, every major corporation started to take a look at its structure and restructure. I don't know if you guys remember MCI back then. They went under. They found out that Enron was cooking the books, and Bell came to me and they said, we're going to change universes. We love you, but we won't be able to keep you in Pensacola. You're going to need to go someplace else. We'll need to relocate you. Well, I had just relocated. And so this was not something that was a good thing for me at the time, and I had just gotten married. And so when we were thinking about moving, I went to my kids' school, and all this played into the decision of what makes you a CEO, making tough decisions. I went to the kids' school, and we told them, and the teachers said, hey, Mr. Long, your kids have just come over. The school system from Alabama is different than Florida. The fundamentals aren't the same. The kids don't have the fundamentals. We were actually going to recommend that you hold them back a year.
Oh, wow.
And so I had a decision, my kids or my career.
Yeah.
My kids or my career.
It's kind of a no-brainer.
Yeah, so I chose my kids. And so I took a severance package from my dream job, and I walked away from some high-powered executives that are said, Cliff, we've invested in you. Where are you at on this? Oh my God. They were telling me, just come to Atlanta. Just come on to Atlanta. We got you. It's your time. Just come on. And my kids or my career. And so I walked away and I took a severance package. Now, I tell you, this is a great message for entrepreneurs out there. I would love to tell you that the next train rolling was something that catapulted me. No, I lost everything. I lost it all because I was a very young man. I was successful at a very early age, and financial literacy was not something that was taught to me. So I wasn't saving money. I wasn't keeping money. I didn't have an IRA or 401k. I lost my house overlooking the water. I lost the cars. I know what it's like to be homeless. I know what it's like to go without, so I don't judge anyone because I know how quickly I was with one hand. I had an American Express black, and I was flying corporate all over America, and then the next day the lights are off.
Yeah.
And you've got kids, and you've got a wife, and she's pregnant, and you're trying to figure out what you're going to do next in life because I chose the kids over the career. It's suck it up, buttercup time. And so I had no job, so I got 2 jobs. I went to the employment agency, and by night, I put my boots and my jeans on, and I worked and climbed in UPS trucks scanning packages. And then I went and got an insurance license. So by day, I was an insurance agent, and by night, I had my boots, my combat boots and my jeans. I was getting ready. I had to make this thing happen. And when I wasn't doing that, I was doing whatever it took to make money to pay the bills. I did not want to be dependent on anyone.
You had a family to provide. And
So, and this is today, people wonder, this is where the tenacity comes from. I've seen the worst that can happen. The things people do, corporate America, I laugh at people because I know what rock bottom is.
No, absolutely.
They couldn't, what it really takes for someone to be successful as an entrepreneur, you've got to turn your back to things and move forward.
Correct.
And that's what happened. So while I was in the midst of selling insurance and I was moderately successful. I was not going to be the next Jake from State Farm or anything like that. But I was moderately successful, and I was paying the bills, and I had the insurance coming in, and things were going okay. And the pastor of my church approached me and said, hey, Cliff, we want to do some community revitalization. We have a community development corporation. We want you to work in that and help out. And I said, sure. And so I jumped on that, and I started working with elected officials. I started handling election campaigns because we needed those people to be in office to help us with our facilities. And I learned that I had a knack for elections. I learned that I was a good government affairs director. I learned that I had
strategic,
a talent for making sure that the right people were in office and working with elected officials. And so that's a skill set that I did not know I had, but I enjoyed it. And then working in the community, we opened up grocery stores, we opened up health facilities. We were turning a whole community around, and I was learning affordable housing. That was my first time ever traveling to Tallahassee to the housing conventions, and traveling to Orlando to learn affordable housing, Florida Housing Finance Corporation. I was approached, and my wife said, hey, Jeb Bush is looking for a spokesperson in Northwest Florida, and the qualifications are they're looking for someone that understands insurance and housing. And I was like, huh? She said, yeah, read this right here. And back in those days, people were still actually reading the newspaper on Sunday.
For sight.
And so that's where the jobs listing, and the state was required to list it there. So I looked at it.
They still do, believe it or not.
Praise God for that. So I looked and I read, and I had the qualifications. Now, this is where the story gets a little bit humorous. I was number 80 of 80 people interviewed. I was the last person. I showed up late because I was not aware of the time difference between Tallahassee and Pensacola. And so one's on Central Time. And so when I show up for the job interview, they're looking at me like, who's this idiot standing out there who shows up late for his own interview?
Evidently not wanting to leave a positive impression, but little did they know.
And little did they know. So I'm sitting there an hour late, and they were waiting on me to leave. they did not want to hire me because obviously I was not demonstrating a competency that they were looking for when you show up late for a job interview. But I sat there and as when you go into any county office or any city or state office, everything that they do, the paraphernalia is on the walls, the brochures. So for 2 hours, I sat and read every brochure that they had. And I digested it all, from the state fire marshal to funeral and cemetery services to the Office of Insurance Regulation to the Office of Financial Regulation. I read it all. And when they had to interview me, because they had to dispose of me, they called me in and they didn't even give me a piece of paper. The director and the manager looked at me and they said, and I quote, "Give us a 15-minute interview on insurance." Boom. I regurgitated everything off of every brochure
that they were producing.
I could tell them more about their jobs than they knew about their jobs. And the next thing, they hired me on the spot.
They didn't let you leave without signing.
I erased 79 other interviews, and I became the next spokesperson for the governor's office, in particular the Office of Financial Regulation, the state treasurer, Tom Gallagher. I was the man in the Panhandle.
Oh, that's awesome.
We fast forwarded. I was tremendously successful. God bless what we did. Our lives turned around. I went from not having a bank account to regulating banks in 1 week. I went from not being able to do business with a bank to the banks inviting me to do business. Life turned around. God did it. So the next thing that happened after that was I caught the eye of someone that worked with Florida Realtors. And they told me that the Emerald Coast Association was looking for a government affairs director, and would you be interested in applying? And I did. I went there. We were tremendously successful. I love the Emerald Coast. Big shout out to all my people in the Panhandle. And then after that, the opportunity to become CEO. When that CEO stepped down, I became the CEO of that association. We did really well. And then I got a wild hair, as they say, and I decided, we did what young kids do, young married couples. We want to be closer to our parents. And so we made the decision that we were going to go back to Birmingham in Alabama. And so I left Florida in 2012, and I moved back and I became the next CEO of the Birmingham Association, where ironically I was number 47 of 47 people interviewed for that job as well, and they hired me on the spot. So I became the CEO in Birmingham, and we had a great run, 5 years. I loved it there. It was home. I knew everybody, but a little something happened. And what happened along the way was I realized how much I like diversity. I realized how much I like Cuban sandwiches. I realized how much I missed oysters on the water and bandejas de paisa. Well, ain't no bandeja in Alabama. I realized how much. Are you getting what I'm saying? I had never heard of mofongo. They got mofongo down here. There's no mofongo in Alabama. And so after about 5 years, we said, we're not from here anymore.
Didn't feel like home.
Did not feel like home.
Florida.
Wasn't where I wanted to raise my children. The same children I had sacrificed everything for. And so we made the decision that we were going to head back to Florida, and the CEO here was retiring. We jumped back on, and the rest is history, as they say, and we've never looked back.
You have turned this organization into one of the top 10 organizations in the country. Congratulations. It's tremendous. What's the secret to that success? What's the secret sauce? Is
passion.
Passion.
I love what I do. I love the people. I'm not the guy that sits in the car and says, I don't want to go in this building. Every day I get to change people's lives. Every day I know that if I do my job well, I make God happy. Every day I know that I get a chance to change the trajectory. I told 70 people an hour ago how special their lives were, and that if they just apply themselves, that if 18,000 other people can do it, they can too. And I get a chance to make people who the world has beat up feel as if they're about to take over the world. I love changing people's lives, and so when I come to work every day, despite what happens, society is degrading in many ways, and there's so much negativity out there, but I'm able to look past that because I love the people I serve, and that's passion is what keeps me going. But you have to also understand that passion comes from the fact, Belinda, that remember the story that I just told. I hit rock bottom. I was that guy that I was able to tell God, Lord, if you get me out of this, I'll never go that way again. If you understand what I'm saying?
Correct.
So every day my approach to work is, that was a promise I made God, that he pulled me up out of the gutter. He pulled me up out of the dirt.
Provided you this opportunity.
He gave me a second chance, and I am not squandering it. So I come here every day ready to bring it.
We wrap up all our shows with the final question, and it's, what's the best advice, business advice, you've ever been given or that you give?
It's going to sound cliche. Mind your own business.
You're definitely going to have to explain that one. Mind your own business.
Mind your own business. If you're in business, stay focused on your business. Don't worry about what the Joneses are doing. Don't worry about what the Smiths are doing. When you're Burger King, you stay focused on flame broiling. Don't try to create a Big Mac. Don't try to worry about. You stay focused on flame broiling. If you're McDonald's, you stay focused on the Big Mac. The Big Mac is what got you there, and the Big Mac is what you sell. Exactly. And when you're in Pizza Hut, it's great to have the wings, but you better have the pepperoni. Stay focused on your business. I see so many people. There's a saying that I have, that if you're worried about my business, you're not worried about your own. And worry about the little nuances in your business that increase profitability. How much did the paper clips cost? How much did the paper cost? How much is the tissue? Don't worry about whether or not they have tissue down the street, because there's always tissue down the street. Don't worry about the competition. Competition is actually going to improve your business. Across from every McDonald's, there's a Burger King. And across from every KFC, there's a Taco Bell. That's on purpose. They feed off of each other. But they don't go try to serve the other person's menu. Stay focused on what you do. Mind your own business, and when you do, your business will grow.
I like that. Mind your own business. Thank you again. We are so grateful for your time and your such sage advice that you've provided. So we're gonna wrap up, and you're gonna join me with saying the coin phrase that we use at all episodes. So we're gonna look into the camera and say it together.
Start or grow your business. Make connections. NEC the possibilities. I love it.
Thanks for watching.